welcome back to my channel and welcome to the next episode of Sofa Sessions. I am super lucky. For this episode, I'm joined by my friend and West End performer, Erin Caldwell. Hi Erin, how are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I'm delighted to be joined by you. It's nice because you're a friend and a professional. So start off by introducing yourself, Erin. Like, tell us a bit about you.
I'm Erin. I trained in musical theatre at GSA and graduated in 2015, so a long time ago now. And I've just been ploughing on and trying to make my way through this very wild, complicated industry. And now I'm lucky enough to be in Pretty Women in the Savoy Theatre in the West End.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about your journey, because obviously this is your first West End show. You've only been in it, what, for a month or so?
Months. This is my 5th week.
Wow. Amazing. So how did you graduated from GSA, and then what's the process been like over the last 6 years?
I found the process quite difficult. So as soon as I came out of drama school, I essentially I just didn't feel the love and the connection to the industry anymore. I had been doing this since I was 9. I did a lot of Scottish TV. I went to a specialist high school for musical theatre, dance and drama. And then from there, I went straight onto GSA. So I had done it for, at that point, it was 11 years solid. And I had my trials and tribulations with drama school, and I think I just simply fell out of love with it. I did get a really great agent from GSA, and he was super understanding. So we had, great communication on what I wanted to be seen for. So I was quite specific, which was probably to my detriment, because when you're a grad, that's your year. But you don't really learn that in drama school. You don't really have such a focus on when you're a grad. It's a really important time for you. So then I spent the next probably 2 years solidly auditioning, and for some shows I was getting really close to the end. For others, I just seemed to keep hitting the wall. And then I think once you start hitting the wall at first round, it just seems to become a really horrible pattern, in my opinion, when your confidence starts to drop. And I was just hitting walls and hitting walls and hitting walls. And then I did a little bit of audition running. I did it the very first time with Harry Blumenau. Had no idea what I was doing, but I was just trying to see from the other side, from the panel's point of view. And I did that for a little bit. And then I was lucky enough to be introduced to the wonderful Jim Arnold, who I didn't know was who I was going to be working for. So I got it through a friend of mine, Dan Looney, who is one of the producers in D-Lap Group. And it was for Curtains. And I was running for Jim, and we got on like a house on fire. So after doing 1 week of Curtains, we then jumped pretty much straight into Prince of Egypt, which was an incredible experience to see that from the very start to the end. A brand new musical. Although it had been done in Denmark, it was kind of really getting cemented in London. And then I ended up working for Jim right up until I got the job that I'm in now. And I can honestly say that working for him, seeing what it's like on the panel, trying to understand how the audition process works, not from an actor's point of view, but from the panel's point of view, completely changed my thinking, my energy into a room. It literally made me just be confident enough by being myself. Right, and since when I started working for Jim, I got a new agent. That was through, it was through him helping, but it was through me having a totally new relaxed attitude towards the industry. And then I was getting to finals for pretty much all of the auditions I had, things that I had done really horrendously bad at a couple of years previous. I was just getting right through, and they were good auditions, and I felt good after them, and I was making excellent connections, just human connections with the panel, which I think is super important. And then I was millimeters so close to a job, and then COVID hit. And I won't lie, during COVID, I did think, what if this sets me back 3 years to where I was before. And it was a really testing time to be like, do I want to keep going? Is this what I want to do? And fundamentally the answer was yes. And I was one of the ones who in lockdown, I had nothing. I had no auditions. Not because my agent wasn't working incredibly hard, but because we were going through a global pandemic and we've never even, imagined anything like that. And then I got the call to do a self-tape for Pretty Women, and that was it. I finally did it,
Yeah, that's amazing, and I hope that this is like really inspirational to people as well, that years down the line, and and I'm not saying this as a biased from a friend perspective, but like from an outside, if I put myself in someone else's shoes, like you're an insanely talented performer, like incredibly talented performer, and to know that even with the talent that you've got, you didn't just step out of drama school into the West End or into a dream job. You have had like ups and downs, so it really shows how talent is obviously important. You need to have talent, but there's so much more than just talent to it. It's timing, it is a bit luck, like it's hard work, and like you haven't stopped, like you've kept going and going and going. And I guess helping sort of working for casting teams has given you like a different perspective. Age and that angle has maybe sort of relaxed you a bit. And
I think so. I was given fantastic advice from my boyfriend, who's done very well, and it was, this is a marathon and it's not a sprint, and it is as simple as that. Look at people, super famous people who had careers right starting in their 40s, Morgan Freeman, Tina Fey. It's not a sprint. And if you sprint super hard and you burn out, then you might not have the longevity that you want. And he fully instilled that you just can't compare yourself to anyone else's journey. It has to be your own lane. You can't look out the window and see how well, someone is doing on this side or this side. It's just your own. And I guess that's what makes it kind of special, because if we all had the exact same journey, it would become a very predictable and an emotionless industry, whereas it's filled with emotion and passion because we're all in a different lane trying to get to what we want, whether that is a West End job or a UK tour, international tour, doing something at a regional theatre, doing something at an outside theatre. Like, it's not just that your goal has to be the West End, it's just you have to just get to the goal that you've had in your head since you started the industry.
Yeah, and I think it's also really important to remember that if your goals change, like that's fine too. Like you can have left college with the goal of getting in, being in the West End, and then changing your mind and being like, well, actually, I really want to do cruises because I want to travel. Like, it's okay to like divert. It's okay to change your goals and as you go. But it's also, if you've got the same goal in your mind and you've had the same goal in your mind forever, like you can reach that, but it might not happen straight away. Exactly. I mean, how have you on an emotional moment, like for you, like what's been one of the hardest things you've had to deal with?
I mean, being so close to a dream job and not getting it and getting the call it's almost like, the only way I can describe it is it's like getting a call from, like getting that call from someone in your family or someone that you know, because you actually have to almost grieve the fact that you didn't get the job, because you've done 3, 4, 5, 7, 8 rounds. You've traveled in, you've done your same routine where you have to get up at the same time. And do you wear the same clothes you've worn before because they maybe have been lucky clothes? Did you go and get a ginger shot from Pret? Did you go to the same Pret if it's the same restaurant? Do you know what I mean? It's you do that and you do it and you get closer, and then you don't usually imagine yourself in the job until like round 3 or 4, and then you start thinking about what it's going to be like when you do it, and you listen to the soundtrack and you immerse yourself in it, and it gets bigger and more heightened and more emotional, and then you you're just kind of left there, and the fall can be really, really hard. And it does almost feel like you are grieving the loss of the job. And I used to feel quite embarrassed about being upset. But now I call it taking a day. So I take a day, I will eat some camembert, because I probably haven't ate dairy before because I'm too worried about my voice.
Yeah.
I'll eat some camembert and, have a gin and tonic or whatever. And then the next morning I wake up feeling better because I've taken the day to be like, I'm really gutted or I'm feeling really upset. So I think that's a pretty emotional one. It can also be super emotional if you're changing agents or if you are looking for an agent. That it takes out of you. And it can also be really difficult when everyone around you is doing so well. And it's not because you wouldn't want them to be doing well. I will go and see all my friends in every show they've ever done, and I will be that person at stage door screaming with a t-shirt, the pictures, documenting it all because I wouldn't want them to miss a single second. But it's hard because you want to be doing it up there with them. You want to make them as proud of you as they're making. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You want them to be just as proud of you as you are of them.
Yeah.
But I think the most emotional thing is definitely when you get the call or the voice note or the voicemail, if you don't want to do it on a phone call, that you didn't get the job and you just have that moment of just, heartbreak.
Yeah. Yeah. So you've, as you were saying, you've got a lot of support around you, like some incredible friends that support you, but you've also got some incredible friends and your partner who are incredibly successful as well. So just for those of you that are watching, Erin's boyfriend is Simon Gordon. If you don't know him, Google him. If you're into musical theatre, you probably will know him. Simon's incredibly talented. He's been really successful. He's done some amazing stuff. He's currently at the moment, is he still in Heathers? That finished now?
Yeah, no, he's on the tour, so it goes until the 11th of December, I think.
Yeah. Simon did Bat Out of Hell. So he's done some amazing things, and being by his side for all of that, I'm sure has inspired you, but as you said, been quite challenging at the same time.
Yeah, and it's not because I wouldn't want him to have a single second of what he's got, because he deserves it, because he is without a doubt the most incredibly talented male that I'm lucky enough to know. The first time I ever heard him sing, I couldn't even concentrate on what else was happening, because it's just his talent is absolutely astounding. And I've been lucky enough to be with him when he got the call to say that he got BAT. I wasn't with him. He FaceTimed me when he got Heathers, and it was amazing. I was with him when he found out he got Moulin Rouge at Secret Cinema, and it's that moment. That's the call. That's the call that you want, and you like picture. Oh, I wonder what it'll be when I get that call. And every single time it was incredible and so emotional, and we were on a high, and we would always celebrate because it's amazing. And then after the high was gone, I always thought, oh, I can't wait till I get that call. But not like I hope he doesn't get that call. It was more, I can't wait until it's my turn, and then I can do all of this with him and with my friends who I get to do it with,
Yeah. So what was your call like?
Oh my goodness. So my call, I got a call at 25 minutes past 9 in the morning. And it was from my agent, and I had just opened my eyes, and in my head he was calling. I don't know why. I thought he was calling to ask, maybe he got stuck somewhere and he needed my help. Literally not one part did I look at, when his name comes up and I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is it. I thought, he must be in help because it's only 25 to 10. He doesn't start till 10. And I answered it, and I was like, I think I was on a bass baritone. I had just woken up. It couldn't have been nice for him to hear. And I said, hello. And he was like, hi, darling. He's fantastic. And he said, would you like to be the maternity cover for Pretty Women in the West End? And I just remember the only thing I said was, we did it, Hugo. And then I burst out crying. and it was fantastic. And then, you know, that day was, I cried on and off the whole day because I was just oh, like, oh my gosh. But no, the first thing I said to him was we did it, because it was teamwork. He's been with me when we've been so close. He's done that phone call where, you know, you fall and plummet and, you know, have a day, and he got to be with me when we did the really great phone call. And I took a picture as soon as I got off the phone, because I never ever wanted to forget how it felt.
Yeah. Oh, that must be such I mean, being an agent is obviously has its ups and downs, the same as being a performer, because at the end of the day, they're on the ride with you.
Exactly.
So they experience the insane highs and the insane lows, and to be the person that gets to call you and say, like, this is it, like, you got what you wanted, like, it must be insane. Like, I bet, you know, they get off the phone and have like a moment where they're like, ooh, or before they ring you, maybe they've had that moment.
Yeah, I always wonder,
to collect myself. And
yeah, I always wonder what it must be like just before they call. Like, I wonder if they're like, oh my goodness, do you know what I mean? I just, especially because he knew that it was going to be like my West End debut, and that we've been so close before, and now it was actually happening. Like, I'll forever be very, very grateful to Hugh that day.
Oh, it's incredible. So tell us a bit about your role. Tell us about your days now, what you do each day, what you do in the show, and everything. Fill us in.
So I am maternity cover for the beautiful Jo Woodward, who is having a baby. And she plays, I play Susan, an ensemble. So Susan is Edward's ex-girlfriend, who you meet at the start of the show in Act 1 and the start of Act 2 as well. And she's got fabulous, fiery red hair, and wears fantastic dresses. She's very stylish, as our Susie. And then when I'm not Susan, I'm ensemble, and it's really lovely. It's a really good cast. Everyone is so supportive, full of energy. It is such a lovely little family vibe. You know, everyone talks to everyone about everything. It's just really lovely to go to work. It's a really lovely environment to work in, and I actively look forward to going to work. And I remember my first 2 or 3 Mondays off, I was, you know, in the flat, just kind of like, I want to go back to work. Like, I was just so, I just didn't ever want to leave the building. So I now do 8 shows a week, and we have a Monday's our day off. So we've got 1 on the Tuesday, 2 on the Wednesday, 1 Thursday, 1 Friday, 2 Saturday, and then we have a Sunday matinee. And it's lovely. I'm loving every single minute. It's everything I thought and dreamed it would be, and so much more.
Yeah. Oh, that's so incredible. What do your days like entail? Like, what time do you get to the theatre? What do you do when you get there? How long does it take to get ready?
So the taking, like, today, so Thursday, we only got 1 show. So the warm-up time is 6 o'clock. So you have to be down on stage at 6 to warm up. You'll do a physical warm-up and a vocal warm-up, which will usually run until 6:30. And then from 6:30, you have to get ready. And in that time, you'll have an appointment with wigs to get put in pin curls and mic'd and wigged, which mine is usually like 5 to 7. So I am still not a pro at getting ready very quickly. So I actually go to the theatre at about 5:30, and I do, you know, quite a lot of my base before warm up, and just so that I have a head start. I like to be slow and listen to music and have a cup of coffee and chill out. So I try and get there a little bit earlier. And then you have beginners, and then the show starts at 7:30, and the first act comes down at about 8:45, and that's when I have a wig change then as well. So I do my wig change at the start of the interval, and then I go up and have like a little breather upstairs for a bit, and then come down for beginners for that too, and do the second act, and then we're done. And I try to get out the theatre quite quickly, because obviously we're not allowed to do stage door at the moment, so we just kind of get out and head home. But I try and get out fairly quickly, just so that I can get to the co-op for some snacks before it shuts.
Great, amazing. How long are you in the job for? Like, how long is the contract for, with it being a maternity cover?
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm contracted until March 2022.
Cool.
And we'll see what happens from there. You know, it's maternity, so it all depends
Yeah.
on mummy, and it just depends what's going to happen in the future. But whatever happens, it will have been the best 7 months of my life so far.
Yeah. No, it sounds absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And it's such a great time as well with theatres reopening. I feel like there's a whole new wave of energy and theatre, like within theatre goers and everyone that's watching.
Yeah, you can feel it. The audience are incredible. They are on their feet at the end of every show, screaming. I can only describe it as like a wave of sound where it just like it starts off and then it booms and gets so loud, and I'll never forget. Even now, 5 weeks in, like when you take the company bow at the end, and just hearing that boom of people cheering and the energy that comes from it, and everyone in the building is just so happy to be back at work, whether that's the crew or, you know, cast, wardrobe, front of house in the theatre. Everyone is just, the whole building is electric. And then when you come out of the theatre and the audience, you know, you can hear them chatting about it, and it's just an absolute miracle that theatre is back. And I think that it's something that we've all really needed to have in our lives, even if you didn't think that you needed it, because it is a safe space where you can go, relax, be inspired, enjoy, feel emotion, let go, relax, and just have a moment of being in a room full of another 1,000 people who are all doing the exact same thing with you. It's fantastic.
Yeah. No, and you've had like packed out audiences like for pretty much every show, haven't you?
We've been so lucky. It's been so full, and you know, it's filled with people who love the film. So a lot of people already know the story, and there's certain lines in the show that you have in the film, and the audience, when they hear it, go wild, and I'll just never get tired of hearing it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. How do you cope with like the 2 show days? Do you find them quite full on?
Yeah, they take a lot of energy out of you. It's amazing though. You know, I get to the interval of Act 1 of the first show, and I'm going, oh my God, we're only 25% through the day. And then during both shows, I think I must be one of the only people to do it, I need to take all my makeup off, so that I start all again later. So I'm like, that show's done. I'm gonna take off, have my start, like have something to eat, and then do it all again. But I think I'll relax in a few weeks' time when I don't feel like I have to do that. I just still feel quite new that I have to be like, no, I have to start from the beginning.
Yeah, like it's part of your routine.
Yeah, it is. You do develop such a routine, even to the point of I do the same things in the same order every single day. And if I didn't do it, I'd be like, oh, what will happen? So if something happened on stage, I'd be like, right, let's because I didn't do my routine to the letter, you know.
Okay, let's talk about what performers can do in general. Let's share some advice, or what I'd love you to do is share some advice. First, let's look at people that have been in the industry for a while, maybe that have been in similar situations to yourself. What is your advice for them?
Don't give up. Don't stop doing what you're doing, because you are getting closer to your end goal ultimately. Even if you don't see it, even if you don't feel it, you are. Every no is closer to a yes. And if you've been auditioning lots, just think about relaxing as much as you can in a room. I know that it sounds ridiculous because you're terrified and you're tense, and you're wanting it to go well. But the more relaxed you go into a room, the more relaxed a panel feels with you being in the room. And then generally the more relaxed the whole thing will be. Go into the audition room being yourself. Don't try and be something that they want to see. Don't try and be anything else other than you. Just go in and be who you are in the best version of it. And dare I even, say it, enjoy it. I mean, we do this because we like it. Any opportunity that you've got to sing and act, try your best and enjoy it. And but yeah, definitely relax, because if you're relaxed, then they're likely be relaxed too.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about for recent graduates? Because obviously you've got a totally different mindset as a recent graduate.
I can't fathom how difficult it must be for grads and what they must be feeling at the moment since coming out of the pandemic, and panicking that it's affected their chances of getting a job. But I think the industry has also changed since the pandemic. I think it's going to look out for people who have been, affected. It's much more of a family unit, which is weird because there are thousands and thousands and thousands of us. But I think it's instilled quite a lot of compassion, and just a general want for the industry to continue, and that it continues by having grads. So keep ploughing on, go to class, go to workshops, whether they're online, they're so accessible. And it's a really great way to network, learn who you're auditioning for. If you can, you've got great classes, Jem, where you have people like Katie Richardson, and you've done ones with Harry. Like they're really great. That's what I did. That's how I met you. There were a couple of rooms I couldn't get into, and then I went out and seeked some workshops, and then were seen by those people, because you've got to put the work in. You've got to meet these people. You've got to let them know who you are and what you can bring to the table. So I would definitely suggest doing workshops. If you can get cheap tickets to theatre, really immerse yourself in it. And I'm not telling you to go and buy a programme. They're pricey. Going to the theatre is expensive, but hop on Twitter and have a look at, not just who is in it, who is the director, who's the producer, who's doing that. Do you know who the casting director is? Yeah. Twitter is a great tool. You have to learn when to put the phone down, leave the room and go and read a book, or go and watch an episode of, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. You have to know when to disconnect from your phone. But Twitter and social media is a great tool. And it's, again, I will put videos of me singing on social media every couple of months, just so that people know what I look like, what I still sound like. So I think that would be my advice, is to not think that the industry doesn't care, because it does. Go to as many workshops as you can and use social media as a tool, and really immerse yourself in theatre as best you can.
Yeah, awesome. That's great advice. Thank you. Okay, before we finish off, I ask everyone this question, and I always feel like I should prep people before, but I never do. So you have to think on the spot. It's completely unrelated, but if you could have dinner with anyone at all, either alive or past, who would it be?
I think, I'd love to have dinner with Freddie Mercury, and just sit and listen to every word that man has to say, because from working in a market in London to being an icon in music is a journey that I think I could listen to and probably learn a lot from, because he's someone who has an incredible amount of self-confidence and talent and skill, and I'm a very big Queen fan, so I think that's who popped into my brain. And I think it would be a useful conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I think you'd learn a lot out of that. I think he's a great choice. Amazing. Cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Erin. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. And I hope that if you're watching this, you found this really useful, really insightful. And if you want to be in the West End, then hopefully this has given you an insight into what it's like, into the audition process, into the show process, being in the show, being in the theatre, and what your days would potentially look like. I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, then please do give it a like and share it with anyone that might find it useful. And I will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.